Aloha, my name is Jay Fidell with this ThinkTech commentary. Today I'm talking about Apple versus the United States government. I disagree with Apple, and I agree with Dianne Feinstein and even Donald Trump that Tim Cook of Apple is wrong to fight with the FBI and the federal government about whether Apple should comply with the court order that requires it to help the FBI get access to the data on Saeed Farook's iPhone. It's not for patriotism that I disagree with him, it's for practicality. Apple is still an American company, and in fact the richest company in the world. It has developed remarkable technology and has deployed it with great success. Apple used to program backdoor access to the iPhone. Now they would rather fight to preserve their new mobile encryption. This new policy sounds very noble, but we also have a wave of terrorism in this country. And those terrorists are relying on Apple's technology. Now terrorists can pull out their iPhones and send encrypted messages around the world. For the price of an iPhone, they can command and control assets from Syria to San Bernardino to do brutal killings in our country. This empowers terrorists everywhere and gives them a huge advantage against us. Is that what we want? The consequences are far too great to ignore the problem. We have to do what we can to find and stop them. It's a balance between encryption and national security. That's simple. Most people would give up this level of encryption if it meant saving lives. Who exactly is Apple protecting? Some say Apple is just protecting its market share. The court's ruling requires Apple to provide the FBI with an update to bypass a feature that automatically erases the data on the phone after 10 incorrect attempts at logging in. That would allow the government to make additional attempts to log in itself and extract the data. The order does not require any change in Apple's encryption system. Tim Cook, however, says that the order requires Apple to leave the keys to these devices, quote, out in the open. But that's a gross overstatement. This is not a backdoor or a slippery slope. The order only deals with the login password on this one phone. At the core of it, Cook is really saying that we can't trust the FBI or the federal government to limit its use of the bypass to this one phone. But that's really unjustified and unfair. To technology observers, this order is the most efficient way to solve the problem and only requires a minimal effort by Apple. In fact, there may be no other way. Apple has not denied any of this. The court gave Apple 5 days to object if compliance would be, quote, unreasonably burdensome, end quote. Since all Apple has to do is add some zeros to the number 10 in the code, the order doesn't seem very burdensome at all. It's not as if the order is arbitrary. It's based on a hearing and a finding of probable cause that this phone was used by one of the terrorists who killed 14 people, and it can help us identify who else was responsible. So this is not a Fourth Amendment question. It's a question only of whether the federal court can order Apple to help the FBI under the All Writs Act of 1789. Let us not forget that Apple itself designed the phone and the encryption. Isn't Apple the best, if not the only one, to do the bypass? Would Apple want the government to make a futile attempt to rewrite its operating system? Terrorists are using these phones to kill people. Does Apple have no responsibility to help us deprive terrorists of that tool? Sure, we haven't been happy with the Patriot Act intrusions since 9/11, but this was not a secret intrusion. It was on motion and hearing in open court where Apple made and lost the argument. Do we loathe the government so much that we would deprive it of this data? It's not Apple that is the underdog here, it's the government, us, that's the underdog. To me, Tim Cook is just grandstanding, trying to look like a hero and improve Apple's market share, as if Apple needs a bigger market share, by convincing us to love and admire Apple more than other cell phone companies who are not doing media campaigns calling for the privacy of the little guy, whether we really need or care about that level of privacy or not. Fight all he wants. With the enormous resources he has available to turn the public against the government, this is not a matter of public opinion, it's a matter of law. And the law is that the district court has the power to issue this order. For Apple to refuse to comply undermines the government's ability to protect us from the greatest threat we have ever known. The reality is that these attacks aren't over. There will be more. Regardless of Apple's campaign, we will need to protect ourselves from those who would indiscriminately murder our citizens. For that, we're going to have the government find out who the terrorists are and what they're doing, within constitutional limits, of course. Otherwise, their terror will terrorize us all. Mahalo, I'm Jay Fidell.